So today we are reviewing multiplying and dividing fractions. You should have your foldable already. We are going to start with this part right there, so make sure you have that available. During this video, the best thing you can do is to listen to the instructions, and then when the examples are there, go ahead and stop the video, do the examples, and then watch the explanation, and that way you're checking yourself as you go. Here we have a mixed number right there. Here's our whole number. This is the number of parts we have, and here's our denominator. To find the mixed number from a fraction, you multiply the whole number times the denominator, 3 times 1, and then you're going to add the extras. And so we'd have 3 plus 2 is 5/3. Go ahead and do the examples on your own. The next, flip it open to there and go ahead and do those. You're going to take the 2 times the 5 and add it to the 3, so you're going to get 13, and you're going to put it over fifths. 3 times the 4, that's how many parts there are in the whole, and then the extra parts are the 3, so you're going to get 12 plus 3 is 15 fourths. This is really sad looking, but I'm going to go ahead and you have real specific things that you need to do. Every time you have a multiplying or dividing, you need to change the mixed number to a fraction. It has to happen. So we're going to go ahead and do that first. So we have 1 2/3 times 1/5. First thing we need to do is change that 1 2/3 to a mixed number. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5/3 times 1/5. Then you're going to go ahead and multiply the numerator times the numerator and the denominator times the denominator. So you guys multiply across, and you get 5 times 1 is 5, and 3 times 5 is 15. After that, you need to go ahead and simplify. And simplifying just means you're dividing out the common factors. So 5/15 has a common factor of 5 and 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. So this is the simplified number. Now, I like to, on the other hand, I like to do the simplifying first. So if I had 5 thirds times 1/5, I'm going to divide out my common factors first. And 5 divided by 5 is 1. So all I have left to do is multiply 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 1 is 3. So I get the simplified version afterwards. So down here it says that number 2 and number 3 can be done in reverse order. So you can simplify then multiply, or multiply then simplify, your choice. I'd like you to go ahead and stop the video and go ahead and do these problems on your own, and then I will go ahead and explain them. So I'm going to go ahead and, can I blow this up a little bit? Yeah, I'm going to blow it up a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to simplify ahead of time. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so 1 times 1 is 1. 8 times 1 is 8. The other option would be to do 3/8 times 1/3, which is 3 over 24, and when you simplify that you get 1/8. 1 3/8 is 8 times 1 is 8, 9, 10, 11 eighths times 1/3. There is nothing that I can simplify ahead of time, so I'm just going to multiply across. 11 times 1 is 11, 8 times 3 is 24. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this last one. 1 and 3/8 we know is 11/8. And 2 and 2/3 is 6 plus 2 is 8/3. So I'm going to simplify. 8 divided by 8 is 1. So I'm going to end up with 11. Oops, my pen just broke. I end up with 11 times 1 is 11. Whoops, my bad. Divided by 3 times 1, so it's 11/3. So we just got 11/3 here. I know when you were younger you were asked to change that to a mixed number, but most of the time we are going to go ahead and leave things in improper form. The only time we are going to change it to a mixed number is if we need to know how many holes and how many parts left, like how many buses to take or something like that. But in general, we're going to leave things in this form, in fraction form, which is called improper. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just fraction form. When we divide, basically dividing fractions requires you to know the reciprocal. And the reciprocal is just a number and its reciprocal when you multiply them together equal 1. So 1/5 is the number we're looking for. And 1/5, the reciprocal of 1/5 is 5/1. Because 1 times 5 is 5, 5 times 1 is 5, and when we simplify that we get 1. So reciprocals, a lot of people think of as just flipping the number over, put it in fraction form and then flip it over. That's a technique for finding a reciprocal, but to make it absolutely correct, you have to go ahead and make sure that the multiplying them together is equal to 1. So go ahead and stop the video and find these reciprocals, please. 2/7, the reciprocal is 7/2. Because 2/7 times 7/2 is 14 over 14, which is 1. Always, always, always when we're doing multiplication or division, we have to change that mixed number to a fraction. So 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 1 is 11/5. So the reciprocal of 11/5 is 5/11. Because 11/5 times 5/11 is going to equal to 1. Okay, so reciprocals are the flip, and you got to make sure that we change our mixed numbers into fractions. Dividing is just like multiplying. You just have to multiply by the reciprocal instead. So if we had 2 1/3 divided by 1/3, we would first change this mixed number to a fraction. So 2 times 3 is 6 7/3 divided by 1/3. Well, we need the reciprocal of the second number, and that's going to be 3/1. So then you're going to rewrite this division problem right here. We're going to take the division, and we're going to think about it as a multiplication of the reciprocal of this number, so 7/3 times 3/1. So then here we can go ahead and simplify and multiply, or multiply and simplify. If I do it, multiply first, I'm going to get 7 times 3 is 21/3, which is equal to 3 goes into 21 7 times, and 3 goes into 3 1 time, so it's 7, right? The other way to think about it is simplifying first. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 7 times 1 is 7. 1 times 1 is 1. Sure enough, and we can write this one as just plain old 7 as well. So once again, go ahead and stop this and do them on your own, and then I will explain. So 3/8 divided by 1/3, I've got the 3/8. I don't need to change anything into a mixed number to fraction. So I'm just going to deal with the reciprocal of the second number. And I've got nothing to simplify there, so I'm going to go ahead and do 3 times 3 is 9, 8 times 1 is 8, 9/8 is the answer. For B, 1 and 3/8, we'd get 11/8. 8 times 1 is 8, 9, 10, 11/8. And then once again, the reciprocal of this one is 3. There aren't any things I can simplify ahead of time, so I'm just going to do 11 times 3 is 33/8. And then the last one we're going to go ahead. 1 and 3/8 again is 11/8, we know that. And then 2 and 2/3 on the other hand, we need to change that to a mixed number. We get 6, 7, 8/3. Now we can either multiply it across and get 88 over 24 and simplify it, or we can look ahead of time and go, well, here's this 8 divides out that 8, so we just have 1 and 1. 11 times 1 is 11. 1 times 3 is 11/3. Okay, and we are done. Go ahead and take that formative, see how you do. Tomorrow in class you're going to end up doing a couple of practice problems, so keep your notes handy if you need them.